Subscribe my channel and press bell icon to get all notification.
Hello students, in this video we'll discuss about next type of inheritance, which is multiple allelism. So let's start our topic, multiple allelism. When we talk about multiple allelism, means what does it means? Multiple allelism. It's a condition in which we can say that one gene or we can say that one character, one phenotype is controlled by more than two forms of the gene. In the previous videos, we discussed that each gene is present into the two allelic form. हर एक जीन टू एलेलिक फॉर्म में प्रेजेंट होता है. इन दीज टू एलेलिक फॉर्म इट्स कंट्रोल द कैरेक्टर्स ऑफ द phenotype of for any individual. But in the case of multiple allelism, it is found that in some cases, some characters are controlled by more than two allelic form of a gene. That condition is known as multiple allelism. And the genes, the form of the genes which are present on the gene, they are found onto the same locus. The allelic forms, or we can say the forms of alleles for a gene which are found onto the same locus of these homologous chromosomes, these alleles are known as multiple alleles. तो सिंपल लैंग्वेज में अगर हम बात करते हैं तो ये एक ऐसी कंडीशन है जहां पे कोई भी कैरेक्टर टू एलील्स डोमिनेंट और रिसेसिव, इन टू एलील्स के अलावा more than two alleles के थ्रू अगर कंट्रोल हो रहा है, then this condition is known as multiple allelism. And the best example to study this condition is the ABO blood group of human being. So let's start. First we will write the definition. Definition is that more than two alleles for one phenotype or for one character. You can write character also. So if more than two phenotypes are present, more than two alleles are present to control one phenotype or character, then it is known as multiple allelism. An example of this condition is ABO blood group in human being. ABO blood group in human being is the example of this kind of multiple allelism. Now let's see how we can say that ABO multigroup show the multiple allelism. In the case of human being, for controlling this ABO blood group, the alleles, the genes that are present in the alleles form, here three alleles are found. What are these three alleles? These three alleles are IA. The gene I is responsible for the controlling of human blood group, and this gene I is present in three allelic form. तीन यहाँ पे हमें फॉर्म्स मिलेंगे. फर्स्ट इज IA, सेकंड एलेलिक फॉर्म इज IB, and third one is the IO, or you can write it in small I also because it's a recessive. Out of these three, these are the three alleles which control the human blood group, and these are the three alleles of gene I that is responsible for human blood group. In these three alleles, these two alleles, IA and IB, these two alleles are the dominant allele, and this IO, this small I or IO, this is the recessive allele. When the dominant alleles will found, then recessive allele will not show its effects. That's the same thing. And when these two dominant alleles will comes together, then both of these two will show their effect. That we have already studied into the codominance also. So let's see what are the possible phenotype or genotype for this type of alleles into the human body. किस तरीके से phenotype और genotype possible है. Now, how we have different conditions, like if IA is come with the IA. Here we have said that three alleles for a blood group is present, but in each individual only two alleles will be found. जो individuals में मिलेंगे only two alleles will be found. Whether it is IA or IB, whether it is IB or IO or IA or IB, any two alleles will be found. So we are starting with the taking two alleles together, and we'll see that what type of blood group will be there. If IA and IA both are the dominant alleles, they will come together. At that time, the blood group will be A. Reason that we already discussed, but we need to understand it here also, that this gene IA, this I gene, this gene is responsible for formation of specific type of glycoproteins in the human RBCs. When IA gene is present, then it will form the glycoprotein that is, or we can say that antigen that is A. If IA gene is found, then it will form antigen A, and the blood group of this human being will be A blood group. उस केस में blood group जो होगा वो A blood group होगा, and the antibodies which are found into this human being will be the B. Antibodies are shown by the lowercase letter, antigens are shown by the capital letter. So this is this A is the antigen. In this condition we can say that antigen जो होंगे that will be the A, and in that same person the antibody will be present, it will be B antibody. In the case of human being which has IA gene, IA जहाँ पे present होगा वहाँ पे ये condition हमें मिलेगी. But this IA could be present into the two form. दो तरीके से यहाँ पे present हो सकता है. It could be present here in both dominant allelic form. IA both are homozygous dominant. So where when these homozygous dominant alleles will comes together, the blood group will be A blood group. That's why we are written here the A blood group. Another condition, another possible condition will be there, that one homozygous and another will be heterozygous. That will be IO. तो यहाँ पे जो second condition हमारे पास है, this is heterozygous. Here it's heterozygous condition where IA is the dominant allele and IO is the recessive allele. In this condition again the blood group will be A, because A is a dominant allele and it will show its effect and it will form the antigen A on the surface of RBCs, and blood group will be A blood group. Next condition that could be present here, that IB or IB, in which the both dominant alleles B are comes together, then blood group will be IB. Third possible condition, IB will comes with the IO. IB जो है वो IO के साथ होगा. यहाँ पे आप IO को ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं. We can write in both forms. IO we can write here, or we can in this way also. This both are right. Okay, IB and IO. It's again, it's not a homozygous, it's heterozygous condition, whereas B is the dominant allele and IO is the recessive allele. So blood group will be B blood group. Next condition, that's forcible condition, that is IA will come B with the IB. Here, both of these two alleles are the dominant. A is dominant and B is dominant, and both of these two dominant alleles will show their effect, and the blood group will be AB blood group. Due to the presence of A and allele, the antigen A will be formed into the human blood, and due to the presence of B allele, dominant B allele, the antigen B will be also formed into the human blood group. तो यहाँ पे दो तरीके के antigen बनेंगे human blood के अंदर, and the blood group will be AB blood group in this condition. And in this case, there is no antibody. किसी भी तरीके की antibody present नहीं होगी, because both antigens are found into the blood. A भी antigen present है, B antigen भी present है. So in this case, there will be no antibodies will be in the blood. So this is the next condition, AB. Next possible condition that we can find, that both are the recessive alleles will come together. IO will come together with IO. In this case, the blood group will be O blood group, because recessive allele is not responsible for formation of any type of glycoprotein, any type of proteins. यहाँ पे कोई antigen formation नहीं होगा. When this recessive alleles will come together, both these two recessive alleles come together. In this case, the blood group will be O blood group. O blood group होगा, and at the time of O blood group formation, the antibodies A and B both will be present into the blood. So here we can say that if we talk about the genotype and phenotype of this kind of condition, the phenotype, which we can say the possible phenotype, how many phenotype? Phenotype means physical appearance, but here the nothing is related with physical. यहाँ पे physical ऐसा नहीं है, but we are talking about the different possibilities of the blood at phenotypic level. So phenotype क्या होगा इस केस में? The phenotype here will be that this condition, blood group A and blood group A. In both two conditions, the blood group will be A blood group. In these two conditions, the blood group will be B blood group, whether it is homozygous dominant or it's a heterozygous dominant. So blood group will be B. In this condition, blood group will be A. It's a homozygous dominant. यहाँ पे दोनों ही dominant है, and this is homozygous recessive condition. So here the possible phenotype that we will find will be the four. So four phenotype. The fourth type of phenotype we will get into the human blood group. And if we talk about the genotype, the possible genotype for this condition is, you can see here, the possible genotype is 6. This is homozygous dominant, it's heterozygous dominant. Again, homozygous dominant, heterozygous dominant, homozygous dominant, and this one is recessive, homozygous recessive. So possible genotype that we will find here is number 6. So we can say that into the case of this multiple allelism into the human blood group, we will find the phenotype. We find 4 phenotypes and we find the 6 different genotypes for the human blood group. So this is the way by which we can say that ABO blood grouping is inherited or is controlled by the different alleles, by the multiple alleles, and these are the 3 alleles. Here, this is controlled by the 3 alleles. So alleles, number of alleles which are controlling are 3, and the number of phenotypes which we can find is 4, and the number of genotype which we can find into the ABO blood group is 6. So this is about the multiple allelism. Now let's try to understand it with an example. Due to the understanding this, जब हमें ये चीज समझ में आ जाती है that how the blood group is controlled by different alleles, then we can easily interpret the blood group of any child when we know the blood group of its parents. या तो पेरेंट्स का ब्लड ग्रुप पता हो तो हम चाइल्ड का ब्लड ग्रुप इजीली इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हैं, और when we know the child blood group, then we can interpret the blood group of parents also, that कौन सी possibility हो सकती है. So let's try to understand this with the help of example. Now let's see how the blood group can be interpreted if we know the blood group of any parent and we want to know the blood group of kids. Suppose we have a possibility that one father which has the blood group A and the mother has blood group B, and we want to know that what are the possibilities of the blood group of their kids. इनकी kids में किस तरीके की blood group की possibility होगी अगर हमें interpret करना है तो let's see. In the case of A, we have 2 possibilities for the blood group A. The father blood group is A, but it can be found by the 2 possibilities whether it is homozygous dominant. We are starting with homozygous dominant if the father is homozygous dominant, and in the same way mother's blood group is B and it could be homozygous dominant again, homozygous dominant for the B alleles. This is the one condition. Another condition would be that this could be heterozygous dominant. Heterozygous condition भी हो सकती है. When this kind of condition is found, suppose we are taking both these 2 possibilities and starting with the homozygous dominant. When father is homozygous dominant and mother is homozygous dominant, in this case, what are the possible possibilities? क्या क्या possibility हो सकती हैं for the blood group? The alleles, the gametes which will form by this IB. These are the gametes which are formed by the mother, and IA. These are the gametes which will be formed by the father. Now let's see. When these fuse together, the possible genotype or phenotype of the blood group by these 2 alleles will be IA, IB, or AIB. So in this case, when both father and mother are homozygous dominant for their blood groups, for their alleles, at this condition, the blood group of the child, of their kids, will be 100%. 100% the chances of blood group of their kids will be AB blood group. इस केस में हमारे पास 100% श्योरिटी आ जाती है that the blood group of their kids will be AB. Now let's discuss with another possibility. जो second possibility हमने देखी थी, when the father's blood group is heterozygous, here IA and IO, which is the heterozygous condition, and mother's blood group is again heterozygous. Mother is also heterozygous dominant and father is also heterozygous dominant for their blood group. So let's see what will be the possibilities here for both of these 2. Here IB, IO. Father is IA, IO. In this condition, let's see what type of gametes will be formed. IA, IB, IA, IO. Then IB, IO, IO, IO. These are the possibilities which will form. Now let's see here. This here we are writing the possibility of blood group A. This is heterozygous dominant. This type of blood group will be blood group A. 25% chances of forming blood group A indicates B की अगर हम बात करें, this will be the blood group A, this will be the blood group B, this will be the blood group AB, and this will be the blood group O. So here in this case, the possibilities of all four types of blood group A, B, AB or O are equal. They all are 25% possibility for all these four types of blood group. B is again 25% chances. AB is of 20%, 25% chances, and the O blood group again have the possibility of 25%. So in this condition, when the father and mother both are heterozygous dominant for their blood group, in these cases, the possibility of their kids or the children blood group is 25% for each type of blood group. So this is about the multiple allelism which we try to understand, and we interpreted the blood group of their parents and from interpreting the blood group of their kids. If we know the blood group of parents, we can reverse it also. If we know the blood group of any kids, we can interpret the blood group of their father or mother also. These techniques is used and in the cases of where some dispute related with the kids arises, जहाँ पे कोई भी confusion हो कि किस babies जो है वो किस parents से belong करते हैं, किन parents के हैं, then we can interpret by taking their blood group, by identifying their blood group. So that's all about multiple alleles.